All right, my friends. So, oh, I feel like laughing. It's been a snowy one again. So, namaste, namaskaram, welcome. I'm Souka, and this is your, what are we on? Tuesday, Tuesday morning gentle class. As always, with our classes, please listen to your body. Know that it's okay to modify, it's okay to adjust and adapt. If your body is calling out for child's pose or an entire class in Shavasana, your mat is like your little magic carpet. So, whatever happens outside the mat is inconsequential. You get to spend an entire hour in Shavasana if that's what you desire. And if you kind of want to add an extra few vinyasa in there, knock yourselves out, give yourself a go. Wouldn't recommend handstand. Maybe not the energy we're going with, but again, if that's what you want to do and you can do it safely, then that's absolutely fine. We are going to start today's class on our backs, but in a supported fish, but we're going to do it in a very specific way. We're actually going to do it with our blankets. So for our practice today, you will require 2 blocks, a blanket, and a yoga belt. So what we're going to do is unfold the blanket, just one fold, and then you're going to take the blanket and roll it up. So roll it along the short edge, all the way up. And this is what we call a little taquito roll. So you just have a small roll. I always get really hungry when I'm teaching yoga. All my things are kind of like food related. All right, so you're going to create this lovely little roll, and then the roll is going to go along the mat like this. And you can also have a block close by as well, because we're going to come into a supported fish, but it's going to be a nice shoulder and chest opener. So you're going to bring your bum to the edge, so it's not actually going to be on that roll. And then you're going to allow your body to lower down onto the roll. The roll is along your spine. Now your head might come up. Notice how that feels. It's quite a big chest opener. If that's too much, you've got your yoga block and you can place the block at the back of the head. I recommend that you would keep your knees bent to start off with, planting your feet on the floor. And then open your arms out to the side, just so you can get a little bit more openness into the front of the chest. Already starting to tap into that heart chakra area, and even a little bit into the solar plexus chakra area. And if we're being really kind of like nitpicky, you could also say that there's a slight opening into that front throat chakra. See if you can draw your shoulder heads away from the ears just a little bit, lengthening through the neck. We've had a really big cold spell recently, and you might notice that you've tensed up, everything is drawn a little up and in. We've got the heating going, it's nice and warm in here, so allow yourself or give yourself permission to unfurl, to open up, to release. For many of us, this might be one of the first practices of the year. This is a year where we transitioned from the year of the snake, where you might have felt that you've been shedding something, into the year of the horse. The year where we can find a sense of power, a sense of driving forward. But that doesn't necessarily mean kind of like going for it and getting it. Just think of the incredible grace and strength of the horse. Invite that in. And then maybe as we center onto our mats today, start to loosen up. So open your mouth. You can wiggle your jaw around, wiggling that bottom jaw around. Inviting in a little bit of looseness. And then once you feel you've let go enough in the jaw, you can slowly start to close the mouth, but keep a small space between your top teeth and your bottom teeth. Resting the tongue gently into the base of the mouth. Softening into the throat. And then finally closing down the eyes if they're not already. If this doesn't feel particularly safe for you, you can always soften the gaze, partially closing those eyelids and allowing the eyeballs to gently rest into their sockets. Just let them sink back. Take a deep, full breath in through your nose. Allow your belly to rise up to the ceiling. Take a moment to pause. And then exhale, open your mouth, let go. Again, inhale through your nose. See how far you can take your breath. Energetically, can you take it down to your toes? Once you get that pause. And then just like a wave that allows things to wash away. Pick up anything you want to leave behind on your exhale, rinsing it out. Open your mouth, let it go. One final time, inhale through your nose, taking in anything you require on your inhale. Maybe strength, energy, positivity. Open your mouth, exhale, release anything that is not serving you. Come back to your regular natural breath, in and out through your nose. And I invite you to set an intention for your practice today. This could be a word, a phrase, mantra, even a dedication. Something to bring you back to the present moment, bring you back to your mat. Whenever you might find your breath wandering, laboring, or you might wonder. I'll be coming around close today, offering a few hands-on assists, possibly just a little adjustment. If you are not open to this, if you do not wish me to be in your space, that's great. Just place your right hand on your belly right now, and I will be sure to stay away from you. Thank you so much. Slowly start to open your eyes, bringing your attention back into the room, back into this space. Gently press into your forearms. Lift your chest up enough that you can remove that blanket, place it off to the side, and then come all the way back down onto your back. Nice flat back. The block might be in the way. Move that off to the side as well, but keep it within easy reaching distance. We're going to reach our arms all the way out to the sides, create space across your chest. And then allow your knees to roll over towards the right hand side. Keep that chest nice and open. Now, if your knees don't come down to the mat, you can always place a block underneath the outside of that right thigh, that right shin, just to give yourself a bit of support, bringing the ground up to you. Lots of space across the front of the body. Now, draw that top hip towards the top corner of the mat. And then if your neck allows it, you can turn to gaze over your left fingertips, getting some length into that side neck, into that right side of the neck. Allow the mat to come up to you, giving you a gentle embrace. And notice if you're still breathing. If you do nothing else in your practice today, I encourage you to breathe. We'll return our gaze all the way back through center, bring your knees back through center. If you place the block underneath the knee on the right side, switch that block over to the left side. And then we'll take the knees over to the left, keeping your shoulders glued down onto the mat. Your twist starts in your belly button. It's going to be quite a nice detox. option to keep the gaze up towards the ceiling, or maybe you turn to look towards those right fingertips, pulling the right top hip down towards the top corner of your mat, and see if you can breathe predominantly into that right lung. When we concentrate on our breath, we can be nowhere else but in the present moment. It's always something useful to take off the mat. Slowly bring your gaze all the way back up through center. Engage those deep core muscles to bring your knees back up through center. Hug your knees into your chest, give yourself a gentle squeeze. Try and keep your tailbone long. So we're getting into the hip flexors here. And then have one hand on one knee, one hand on the other knee. We'll take the knees out to opposite sides, then forward to the top of the mat, bring them together and then draw them into your chest. So it's like one of those old-fashioned egg beaters. We'll take the knees out to the sides, forwards to the top of the mat, draw them together and then bring them into the chest. Let's do that one more time. Out to the sides, forwards towards the top of the mat. Bring your knees towards each other and then hug those knees into the chest. Take a little hug here. Then we'll take it to the opposite direction. So keeping the knees together, press them forward towards the top of your mat. Opposite sides. Draw your knees in towards your shoulders and then bring the knees together. Press them forward. Out to the sides. In towards your shoulders and then back together. And then let's do that one more time. Taking them forward to the top of the mat, out to the sides, in towards your shoulders, and then back in towards the midline. Give yourself a little squeeze. And this is where you can circle the hips out in one direction. Little back massage here. And then circle them out into the opposite direction. We're going to make our way up to seated. You've got two options with seated. One is to roll over onto your right hand side. The other, if you want a bit of fun, is to take your hands behind your thighs, rock and roll along the spine a couple of times. There's no right, there's no wrong. It's just how you feel. And then we'll come all the way up into our seated position. In seated, I'm going to encourage you to undo that taquito roll and come to sit up on a blanket. So you're going to fold that blanket back into its studio fold. You're going to sit on the rounded corner, right on the very edge, almost like you're tipping off the edge. It's kind of a little bit uncomfortable. And come to sit in either Sukhasana or Siddhasana. So a comfortable cross-legged position. Bring your hands onto your knees, gentle hold onto those knees. And we'll take some Sufi circles, a little kind of Kundalini motion here. In Kundalini, they believe that you've got like a crisscross snake going up the central column. So we're kind of like unleash that energy. So you're going to start to come forward to the right, forward to the left, and then round. And as you round, draw your navel to your spine, chin to chest. Come forward, press that heart center forward, over to the left, and then round. And then let's do that one more time. You can make these movements as big or as small as you like. We're trying to keep the sits bones on the mat, but it's okay if they come off a little bit. The next time you're over towards your right knee, pause and hold. And then we'll take those circles into the opposite direction, going back first of all, over to the left, forward and round. You might notice you're getting into the shoulders a little bit here as well. And then come all the way through center, lift up. Press down through whatever is touching the earth and then lift up from the crown of the head. Nice neutral spine here. Bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. Lengthen through the side of the neck. Now you're going to bring your chin towards your chest. Lengthening through the back of the neck. And then left ear towards your left shoulder. Now this is where you might want to open your mouth a little bit and we'll take it nice and gently here. Look up towards the sky. Bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. Chin towards your chest. Left ear towards the left shoulder. And then open them out to look up to the sky. Let's take those head circles in the opposite direction. So over to the left, left ear, left shoulder, chin to chest, right ear, right shoulder, gaze up to the sky. Once more, left ear, left, chin to chest, right to right, and then gaze up to the sky. Take your hand behind your head, gently encourage the head back up through center, really nice. This is one of those kind of like weird yoga things that kind of works a lot with energy, but it's also really nice. And let's just see if it does actually help to expand your vision. So you're going to keep your hands on your knees. Nothing else is going to move, just your eyeballs. Now be super careful here, because I did have a friend who once said, I had the weirdest yoga injury. I strained my eyeball. So we'll take this nice and gently. I tried really hard not to laugh. I was very professional. Okay, but I get how it's done. All right, so your head is not going to move, just your eyes. And take it slowly. We don't want strained eyeballs. So just your eyeballs going to move to look to the right. And then back through center. Look up to the sky. Back through center, over to the left. Back through center, down to the ground. Back through center. All right, let's try and do that without going back through center. So you're going to take your eyes over to the right, up to the sky, over to the left, down to the ground. One more time in this direction, over to the right, up to the sky, over to the left, down to the ground. All right, for the sake of balance, we're going to take it to the opposite direction. So over to the left, up to the sky, over to the right, down to the ground. Once more, over to the left, up to the sky, over to the right, down to the ground, and back through center. And now our vision is even broader. It's just one of those little things we don't often think about. Oh, like our eyes often get like a little tired, a little focused. Take your hands behind you, switch out the fronts of the legs. Refine that foundation, so you're pressing down through whatever is touching the earth, lifting and lengthening up through the crown of the head. Reach your arms all the way up to the ceiling. Now notice as you reach up, have your front ribs puffed up. Can you tilt your pelvis and those low frontal ribs so you've got a nice strong column here into your core? Imagine that you're holding a yoga block in between your hands. Lots of energy firing up through those fingertips. Now we're going to start our twist from our belly button. So start to twist towards that plant, towards Gunner. Your twist might just be a few inches. It might be more. But whatever it is, make it your twist. Now, once you've found your edge, bring your right hand, your left hand to the outside of your right thigh. And then that right hand either comes to the mat behind you or it comes down onto a beach. So the right hand comes down onto the mat. Beautiful. Now take a moment to open up through your collarbones. And then lift the crown of your head up. Beautiful, really nicely done. Now we do have a twist mantra. It's inhale, lengthen. So as you inhale, see if you can lift up a little bit. Exhale, twist. So to exhale, we're going to pull our belly button in and up and see if you can get a little bit more of a twist. Once more, inhale to lengthen. And then exhale to twist. Inhale, come all the way back through center. Reach your arms all the way up to the sky. Find that length. Lots of energy through those fingertips. Yoga is so much about energy. And we'll take that twist to the opposite direction. So exhale, we twist. Navel draws in and up. That's going to help to create space. Once you have met your edge, you're going to bring your right hand to the outside of your left thigh. And then that left hand either comes down onto the mat, or you can bring it onto a block just to help keep that length. Especially if you notice that you're leaning back, just to bring the hand down onto the floor. Bring the ground up to you. Again, we open up across the collarbones, press the head ever so slightly back, getting into this bandha, this throat lock, Jaladhara bandha. Deep inhale to lengthen, exhale, twist just a little bit more. These are so good. Reach your arms all the way back up to the ceiling. And then how are your wrists doing? Let's waterfall those hands down. So nice. We're making our way into tabletop position. So you can uncross the legs, maybe roll over them, coming into tabletop. And you do that with your blankets. So if your knees are a little bit sensitive and you'd like to have a bit of padding, unfold the blanket, one fold, place it on the ground. And this just means that your shins also get a lot of support. And make sure your blocks are at the top of the mat. In our tabletop position, our wrists are directly underneath our shoulders. And our knees are directly underneath our hips. Take a look back, make sure your toes are pointing back. Hug everything into that midline. Gaze is slightly forward and down, so you're not cranking into the neck. You're looking just past your fingertips. And then press into the circumference of the hands. Gonna drop our belly, lift our tailbone, lift the heart center. And instead of cranking into the neck, just allow your gaze to naturally follow forward, slightly up. This is our cow pose. Exhale, follow out your belly, round through the back so you can create a perfect dome in that upper back. And imagine your shoulder blades sliding away from each other, cat pose. Inhale, coming back into your cow pose. Pressing the mat away. And then exhale, round through the spine, coming back into your cat. One more time, inhale, cow. And then exhale, cat pose. We'll come all the way back into a neutral spine. And let's play with a little bit of core work here, a little bit of balance. We've got some options, so you don't have to go all out. So we're coming into our bird dog position. You're going to extend your right leg long, bring your toes down onto the mat, get a little bit of length into the fascia of the foot. Hug everything into that midline. Try and keep the hips nice and level. Now, option one is to pick up your left hand and then take it forward, coming onto tented fingertips. So the foot is down and the left hand is down, but slightly forward. So you've got that length. Option two, again, no right, no wrong, it's just where you are in your body, is to lift that right leg and that left arm alongside the ear. So you're either here or here. The important thing here is that you keep everything hugged in and you engage your core. Beautiful. Bring that left hand and that right knee back down onto the mat, coming back into your tabletop. Second side. So this is really helping to get those stabilizing muscles. Take your left leg out, long toes stay down on the mat. Extend your right arm, tented fingertips. Notice if your belly is dropped down, hug it in and up. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you reach that right arm and that left leg back. Notice if the belly is dropped down, hug those outer hips in. Beautiful. Hand comes down to the mat, knee comes down to the mat. All right, let's do that again. Right leg extends out, left hand. Maybe you lift, maybe you stay in place. Lower it down. And then we'll take the other side, left leg, extend it back. Right arm, extend it forward. Stay on the mat or lift. Really nicely done. Hands come down to the mat, knee comes down to the mat. Have a little bit of a wiggle out. That's quite a lot on the wrists. So you can pad out the mat. As you may or may not know, I do have kittens, and I have discovered that I do this so much on my mat that they think it's fair game for them to do it on my mat as well. I've got little bits all over. All right, my friends, bring your big toe knuckles to touch, take your knees out wide, press your hips back towards your heels, coming into an extended child's pose here. So we're making this slightly more active. Walk your hands forward and you can bring your forehead onto the mat. Or if that's not easily accessible, you can bring your forehead onto a block. Again, see if you can lengthen through the sides of the body. And the wingtips of your shoulders are naturally going to roll out to the sides, but see if you can still create length in your neck here. Use your exhale to press your hips or guide your hips gently back towards your heels. Take a deep full breath in together as a community. And a full breath out, let go. Press back into your, slowly lift yourself up, lean back into your tabletop position. From our tabletop position, we haven't got a lot of downward facing dogs. In fact, we've only got 1 or 2. You're going to take your hands forward just a few inches past your shoulders. Press those palms down and then spin the biceps, so the eyes of the elbows forward. Curl your toes under, get a stretch into the toes, that nice fascial stretch. And then you're going to lift your hips all the way up towards the ceiling, keeping a deep bend into your knees. Try and keep your ears alongside your biceps. Lift the hips up towards the sky just a little bit more. And then once you've got maximum length into your back, maybe you draw your heels down towards the mat. Any amount. Really beautiful. Start to walk your hands back towards your feet. Bend into your knees generously. Allow your belly to cascade over your thighs. Hold onto the opposite elbows for a ragdoll position. And in ragdoll, your head is going to hang super heavy. You can play with your balance, maybe rocking from side to side, gently backwards and forwards. And then we'll switch out the cross of the elbows, holding onto opposite elbows, the opposite forearm in front. And you can nod your head, shake your head, take gentle circles in one direction, gentle circles into the opposite direction. Release your hands all the way down to the mat. You can imagine that the arms are super, super heavy. See if you can straighten into the legs any amount, getting a little more traction into that spine. And then we'll come to a halfway lift, flat back position. So you can bring your hands either to your shins or to your thighs. Try and get your hips directly over your ankles. Gaze is slightly forward and draw your shoulder blades towards each other. Exhale, we hollow out our belly, fold forward, hands either outside the feet, flat on the mat. We can come to tented fingertips. Draw your chin to your chest, gentle bend into those knees, and we're going to roll up to standing inch by inch, stacking bone on top of bone. Become really aware of your body in yoga. Head is the very last thing to come up beautifully down. We'll come to find our mountain pose, Tadasana. You can either have your feet in a hip width distance apart, or you can bring your big toe knuckles to touch with your heels slightly wider apart. These days, I'm really enjoying in a hip width distance. It just kind of feels nicer in my hips. Palms face forward, crown of head reaches up. Inhale, reach your arms all the way around, out and up. Notice if those ribs are puffing. Can you shorten the distance between the hips and the low frontal ribs? And then exhale, hollow out your belly, fold forward. Halfway lift. As you inhale, hands again to shins or thighs. Exhale, we take it all the way back down to the ground. Really nice. Root to rise, reach your arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, we'll bring the hands back home to heart center. Samastiti. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, reach your arms all the way around and up, opening up those shoulders. Exhale, hollow out your belly, fold all the way down. Halfway lift as you inhale, nice and long. Exhale, we fold all the way back down. Root to rise, reach your arms all the way around and up. And exhale, hands come all the way back home to heart center. Bring your hands down by your sides. We're going to walk to the top of the mat, heel, ball, toe. So articulate through those feet. And you're not on a tightrope here. We're just walking, just a regular walk, but really become aware of that foot movement. So heel, ball, toe, all the way to the top of the mat. Once you get to the top of the mat, we're going to press down through both edges of your heel. We're going to press down through the big toe mound, the little toe mound. It's a bit chilly today. Some of us are wearing socks, but we're going to lift the toes up. Spread them as wide as you can. And then without doing anything else, not your fingers, your jaw, or anything else, we're going to bring the little toe down to the mat, followed by the next and the next and the next until all the toes come down to the mat. You and I are great, like we're doing it, nobody can say. Pull those feet down, feel that foot to earth connection. Make sure your blocks are at the top of them. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up to the sky. Circle your left wrist with your right fingers. So you're going to circle that left wrist with right fingers up and over. We're going to crescent over towards the right. So over towards that one wall. Inhale, come all the way back through center. Extend your arms back up to the sky. And this time you're going to circle your right wrist with your left fingers up and over towards the entrance door. Inhale, come all the way back through center, extend those arms up to the sky. Exhale, hollow out your belly, fold forward with your hands to your blocks. Halfway lift, nice and long into that spine. You're going to move your blocks back, bend into your knees, and then step your right foot back, all the way back. Take a moment. Make sure you've got hip width distance apart into those legs. And then you're going to allow that back knee to gently descend down onto the mat. Then you can always pad out your knee. You have got those blankets. See if you can lift your chest off your thigh. And then take a moment, make sure that that front knee is tracking directly over that front ankle. Hug the outer hips in, and then you're going to bring your left hand to your thigh. Bring your right hand to your thigh. Lots of deep core work here. Lift your chest up. We'll get this isometric movement where you're going to draw your heel and your knee towards each other. You might notice that sensation into the back leg. And then if you're feeling great, you can reach your arms all the way up to the ceiling for our Ardha Anjali Asana, half crescent lunge. See if you can keep drawing that tailbone down, nice and long. Take your arms out to the side, dial your thumbs down, and then take your hands behind you, interlace the fingers. Press the palms together. See if you can keep a little bend into your elbows, and then see if you can start to open your chest towards the ceiling, any amount. This might be a small back bend, it might be a big back bend. Keep squeezing the inner thighs towards each other, really nice. Then inhale, release the body, reach the arms all the way back up to the ceiling. And then bring your hands all the way back down onto your blocks. You're going to heel toe your front foot forward just a few inches past that front knee. Walk the blocks back so the back underneath your shoulders. And then we shift the hips back, straightening into that front leg, coming into that half split or Ardha Hanumanasana. Then back into that front knee, but this time you're going to drop that back hip down just a little bit more. And then press back into our half monkey god pose. Coming all the way forward again into your half split. So we're really working all parts of the body today. It's a full body yoga session. And then back into our half monkey god split. Then back into that front knee. Heel toe the front foot, so just back underneath the knee. You're going to pick up your left block, bring it to the inside of that left foot, and then heel toe that left foot over to the side. So this is that kind of lazy lizard lunge. Now you're going to come to the knife edge, the outside edge of that left foot. Try and keep the ankle, the foot, and the knee in one line. Open the inner thigh, and then use your left hand on the inner thigh. Just get a little opening. It's a really nice hip opener here. Keep the chest pointing forward. And then we'll come all the way back through center. Pick up your block, heel toe that front foot back towards the midline, hands on the blocks, curl your back toes under. And then I really like this cue because it kind of rather than just lifting the knee up, imagine pressing your thigh bone into the hamstring. So you're going to lift, extend, and then you get all kind of like strength into that back leg. Get a little bit of a bounce into that back knee, walk the blocks forward. And then we're going to step the right foot up to meet the left. Halfway lift, long and strong. Exhale, forward you forward. Press into your feet, root to rise, reach your arms all the way up to the sky. And then exhale, hands come all the way back home to heart center. All right, let's keep moving. Reach your arms all the way around and up. Exhale, hollow out your belly, fold forward. Bring your hands to blocks. This time you're more in a cocktail table shape. So the blocks are directly underneath your shoulders. So it's a really extended flat back position. You're going to keep your left hand on the block, bend into your left knee. Already you might feel a little bit of length into that right IT band. Reach your right arm out to the side so that it's parallel with the floor and in line with your collarbones. The arm doesn't move, but start to twist towards that Ganesh statue, towards the plant wall, opening up just enough. We'll bring that right hand all the way back down onto the block, straighten into both legs. Take a moment just to notice how it feels to be slightly off balance. And then bend into your right knee, keeping right hand on the block. We'll extend the left arm out so that it's parallel with the floor. And then start to open your chest towards that entrance door. Beautifully done. Hands come all the way back down onto the blocks. We'll move those blocks back so they're in line with the feet, bend into the knees, and this time step your left foot back, all the way back. Again, take a moment, make sure your feet are hip width distance apart, and then you can gently allow that back knee to kiss the mat. Always patting out the knee if that feels more comfortable for you. Take a moment, adjust the foundation, making sure that front knee is directly over the ankle. These look fabulous. Then you're going to bring your right hand to your thigh, bring your left hand on top, deep core muscles lift you up. We'll try and be more of a 90-90. I know Instagram has us down like this, looking fabulous, but maybe it's kind of going to give us more strength. We lift those hips up, pulling heel and towards each other. Reach your arms all the way up to the sky, finding that nice half crescent lunge. Press a little bit more weight into the heel of that front foot. Now you're going to take your arms out to the side, dial the thumbs down, and then interlace the fingers with the opposite thumb. The way that feels a little bit weird, a little bit funky. Press your palms together, open your chest. See if you can press your heart center really forward. Draw your tailbone down. Little bit of balance here as well. Inhale, lift you back up, reach your arms all the way up to the sky. And then we'll bring the hands all the way down onto those blocks. Heel toe that front foot forward just a few inches past your knee. And then we'll shift the hips back. Try and keep that back knee directly underneath the hip. Straighten into the front leg, half monkey god pose. And then bend back into the knee, drop that back hip down just a little bit more. Press back into your half monkey god, pulling your toes up towards your shin. And then bend back to that front knee. One more time, we'll take it back. Really nice, getting into the hamstrings again. And then coming all the way forward. You're going to heel toe that front foot back just a little bit again so that the knee is directly over the top of the ankle. Pick up that block, heel toe the right foot over towards the corner of the mat. And then we're going to come onto the knife edge of that right foot, keeping ankle and knee in one line so that ankle doesn't sickle out. Pick up your right hand, gently press into that inner right thigh. Chest stays facing forward. Nice, inhale, open. We'll come all the way back through center. Pick up the right block, heel toe that foot back through center. Curl your back toes under. Press the thigh bone into the muscle. Lift that back leg up. Then we'll get that little bit of balance again. And then step the left foot up to meet the right. Halfway lift, nice and long. And then exhale, forward to forward. Root to rise, reach your arms all the way up to the sky. And exhale, hands come all the way back home. So we've opened the hips, we've done wrists, we've done eyeballs, we've done toes. I've had to take my tree down today because it's January 6th. So in honor of taking the tree down. I think we should do at least one tree pose because, you know, it would be rude not to. So you're going to bring your hands to your hips. And please do remember, we've always got walls here if you just like to use those for balance. But we'll take this in stages. So you're going to press into both feet. Make sure your hips are facing forward and really press into your left foot. Press down, feel that foot to earth connection. And come up onto the ball of the right foot. Now the movement comes from deep within the hip socket. We're not just turning the knee out, it's a whole leg movement. So from deep within the hip socket, take your right knee off at a diagonal. Now there's an option to create a kickstand, bringing your heel in towards the ankle, just above the bone. Or maybe bring the foot to the inner shin. Or if you're feeling super sassy and balanced today, you can bring that right foot to the inside of the thigh. Whichever variation you're taking, see if you can lift out of that standing leg, sort of pull that standing leg hip in and up. Lift up from the pelvic floor, lift up through that midline, that beautiful Kundalini energy that we got going at the beginning. See if you can imagine that serpent lifting all the way up and out through the crown of the head. Hands can stay in the hips, maybe at heart center, or maybe you give that tree some branches, reaching your fingertips up to the sky. So beautiful. Find a drishti, a non-moving focal point. And we'll bring the hands back to heart center, back to the hips. Bring that knee gently forward. And then feet come down into the mat. And then let's just let it go. Shake those hips out. Ula Lasana, circling them into one direction and into the other. And then let's take it to the other side. Otherwise, we're going to be walking around in circles all day. And I know that you want that. So on the second side, refine that foundation. Feel that foot to earth connection. Stay hips. This time, really press down through the right foot. Imagine we've done twiddle toes. So you almost got roots growing down through your feet. Come up onto the ball of the left foot. And deep within that hip socket, take the knee out at a diagonal. Keep maintaining those frontal hip points facing forward. Again, your decision. Maybe you just create a kickstand. This is beautiful. Maybe you bring the foot to the inner shin. Maybe you even bring the foot up to the inner groin. Yogi's choice. Again, notice if that right hip is jutted out to the side, can you draw it in and up? Can you lift up, lengthen up? Maybe you bring your hands to heart center. Maybe you give your tree some branches. Finding that non-moving focal point, that drishti. So good. I often say, if you fall out of a pose, it proves you're human. If you get back in, you're a yogi. Hands come all the way back to heart center. Back to your hips. That knee comes forward. Bring it down to the ground. Let it go. It's gone. Done it. That was part of the past. Back to the present. I'm loving the little kind of like move back to it. Come to find your mountain pose, Tadasana, reset. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, follow out that belly, fold forward. Lift halfway, nice and long. Exhale, fold you forward, find your blocks, bring them back in line with the feet. Step your right foot back. Bring your right knee down to the mat. Step your left foot back, coming back into our extended tabletop position. From our tabletop, you're going to remove those blocks. I promised you no chaturangas, and I sort of kind of vaguely lied. So, but they're not really chaturanga. We're going to take the hands forward just a few inches past the shoulders. Shift your hips forward so it's a knee down plank. Hug your elbows in. Hug everything into the midline. Nice, strong core here. Lower all the way down to the mat. Inch by inch. Ooh, it's all right if you flop down. Yoga police are not going to come and get you. As you get down onto the mat, create a pillow with your hands, bring your forehead onto that hand pillow.
bend into your knees and windshield wiper your legs from side to side. Maybe quite a nice lower back twist. Now bring the feet all the way back down onto the mat. And we'll work a little bit on the posterior chain strength, so that back chain strength of our core. Bring your hands back so that they are in line with the low floating ribs and your wrists are directly underneath your shoulder, your elbows. Gaze is slightly forward. Now press all of your toes down to the mat. Press your pubic bone down onto the mat. So the tops of your feet are on the floor. See if you can get all of your toenails onto the mat. Press your pubic bone down and then draw your tailbone back towards your heels. And you might notice your belly button starts to lift up a little bit. Now we're going to start to squeeze our shoulder blades towards each other. You might notice the chest is already starting to lift off the mat. Then one final thing, use your exhale to lift your shoulders and your chest off the mat. This is our baby cobra. Now one last little thing, lift your hands off the mat just an inch. Oh, nice back chain strength. Hands down, chin down, create that pillow. Make an opposite hand on top. You can windshield wiper those legs from side to side. Back bends are a really nice way to counter sitting down. Sitting down is essentially a forward fold. So this is the complete opposite. We're taking it in a different direction and working the muscles in a slightly different way. It also shifts the energy focus. It's also another nice way to open up that throat chakra, a heart chakra, and even the solar plexus chakra. All right, we always do things in twos. So you're going to bring your hands back so that the elbows are directly over those wrists, palms flat on the floor. See if you can bring all of your toenails down onto the mat. And then we'll go through that checklist again. So draw your tailbone towards the back of the room. Lift your belly button off the floor. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Almost engage the glutes to lift your chest and your shoulders off the mat any amount. Maybe you've got a little bit more this time. Lift the hands off the mat just an inch. Keep breathing. Hands come down to the mat. Chin comes down to the mat. Create that pillow one last time. Windshield wiper the legs from side to side. So nice. Such a good job. Come all the way back through center and we'll come into Sphinx pose. So in Sphinx pose, your hands create a figure 11. Shoulders are directly over your elbows, palms face down. See if you can press the pubic bone down, tailbone back, and then shine your heart center forward. Notice if you're feeling pressure in that low back, tilt the pelvis slightly. This is a way to get more of a bend into our upper back. Bit that tends to kind of hunch forward. See if you can get more space into that upper back, more into that front of heart center. Now from here, we're coming into a variation of frog pose. So you're going to take your right knee out to the side. Right knee is in line with the hip, and then take a look back. Make sure your ankle and your knee are in one straight line. It's another big hip opener. Beautifully done. Gaze is slightly forward. And then we'll take that right leg back. And there's always a second side. So we're going to take the left knee out to the side. That left knee is in line with the hip. And then take a look back, making sure that the ankle is in line with the knee and the foot is flexed. Press the hands down, lift the chest just a little bit more of that tailbone long. See if you can press the inner left thigh down into the mat any amount. So nice. And then we'll take that left leg back towards the wall behind us. Create that little pillow, or maybe you bring your hands down by your side, bringing your left cheek to the mat. And this time just try wiggling the hips around a little bit rather than windshield wiper. And then turn the right cheek towards the mat, keep wiggling. Come all the way back through center, and we've got one final back bend just to work on that back chain strength. This time you're going to take your hands back, plant the palms down, so the palms are roughly in line with your hips, depending on how long your arms are. Squeeze your inner thighs together, squeeze your inner ankles together, draw that tailbone long again. And then this time, keep your chin on the mat, keep your hands on the mat, lift your legs off the mat. Any amount, see if you can get your knees off, and you get your thighs off, press the pubic bone down, and then lower down. Really nice. This time, keeping the feet on the floor. Can you lift your chest, just your chest off the mat? Beautifully done. Come all the way down. Find a little something, something. Lift everything off the mat. Point your fingertips towards the wall behind you. Point your toes towards the wall behind you. Gaze is slightly down. Lower all the way down. Really nicely done. You can windshield wiper those legs, take those little hip circles, whatever works. So, so good, so strong. So often when we talk about heart openers and opening the front chakra, we're always thinking kind of like big back bends with the chest facing up. But you can also do that into prone position. Come all the way back through center, bring your hands back in line with those low floating ribs. Press yourself up into your tabletop position. From our tabletop position, we're going to make our way onto our bums. So you can either cross the ankles, roll over, or take those shins out to the side. Plant your feet on the floor. I do this every single class. It's signature. It's not a good signature, but it is anyway. We're going to plant our feet on the floor and make sure that you have anything you like to use for Shavasana, including your blocks and your yoga belts close by. Feet are planted, knees are bent. This is the signature. We Charlie's Angels off the fingers, big steeple grip. Draw your shoulder blades away from each other. Find cat pose in your spine. So you're going to tilt the pelvis and then unfurl down to the mat. Inch by inch. Flopasana, completely allowed. Once you get down to the mat, take a great big full body stretch. Reaching your arms overhead, taking your legs out long. You can circle out your wrists, circle out your ankles. So nice. Bring your hands down by your sides, find your yoga belt. You're going to hug your right knee into your chest, give yourself a squeeze. And then place the belt around the ball of that right foot. It's a really gentle hold onto that yoga belt. Keeping the arms straight, start to straighten into the leg any amount. You can flex into the foot, super gentle hold, and then lift your shoulders off the mat. Lift them off the mat, lift, 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 lift. And then allow them to drop down onto the mat. So the shoulders are on the mat. Gentle hold onto that yoga belt, really nice. Take the belt into the right hand. Extend your left arm out to the side. And then the grip is so soft on the belt that it will slide through the hands. Take your right leg over to the right, bend into that right elbow, bringing the upper arm down onto the mat, just opening up onto those inner groins. And then come all the way back through center. This time the left hand takes hold of the belt, the right arm goes out to the side. We'll take that right leg over towards the midline and then over slightly, but try and keep the bum on the mat. So getting into that IT bend. Come all the way back through center, bend back into the knee, hug both knees into your chest. Then you're going to keep the left knee hugged in, extend your right leg long. Take the belt around your left foot, around the ball of the left foot, and then straighten into that left leg any amount. Again, we're going to lift the shoulders off the mat. Almost like you're trying to draw the shoulder heads towards each other. And then drop them down onto the mat. Keeping that leg nice and long, arms nice and straight. Flex them into the toes. Taking the belt now to your left hand, extend your right arm out to the side. This creates a counterweight. And then gently start to open your left leg out to the side, maybe bending into that left arm. Opening the inner loins, nice big stretch. Come all the way back through center. The strap now goes into the right hand as the left arm reaches out to the side. And this is a really small movement. It's only about a couple of inches. Start to take the left leg over towards the right side. But the minute your butt cheek comes off the mat, that's kind of your edge. You might notice length into the IT band, the outside of that left leg. And then we'll come all the way back through center, bend both knees back into your chest. Get yourself a generous squeeze. And this time you're going to draw your nose to your knees to nose. Inhale a big sip of air. One more sip. One final sip. Exhale, opens your eyes, a great big starfish shape. Spreading your arms and your legs, your fingers and your toes. Open your eyes, open your mouth, stick your tongue out, release your practice lion's breath. And then bring everything into the midline and set up for Shavasana, a final resting pose. Adding on props, adding on layers. If you sleep with a pillow, it can be really nice to place a folded up blanket or a sweatshirt or even a bolster underneath the back of your head. It kind of gives your body the idea that now is time to relax. Make myself nice and warm, nice and allow your arms to naturally rotate out to the sides, soften into the palms. Together, let's take a deep, full breath in. And then leave breath out. Shavasana. I'll be here open space, calling you back next time.
Start to deepen your breath and start to bring your attention back into the room and back into the space around you. Become aware of the sound, sensations, and start to invite movement back into your body by wiggling your fingers and wiggling your toes, circling up your wrists and your ankle, maybe rolling your head from right to left, and even taking a great big full body stretch. When you're ready, hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a final well-deserved hug in Apanasana. And whisper to yourself, I love you. Really mean it. And then when you feel ready, roll over onto your right hand side. Pausing here in your gentle embrace as you mark the transition between your practice on the mat and your practice off the mat. No rush, no pressure, but in your own time, press into your top hand and with a heavy head, bring yourself all the way up into a comfortable seated position. Leave your eyes closed, maybe a soft focus. As we bring our hands together at heart center, in whichever position feels the most authentic for you. Together we bow our heads to honor and recognize the long history and lineage of yogis who have come before us. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere know freedom and happiness, and may my words, deeds, and actions contribute to that freedom and happiness for all. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace. Thank you. Don't forget to thank yourselves and each other. Thank you.
Thanks, Souka, that's great.
As always, dear friends, such an honor and privilege to get to share your time, get to share your practice. Thank you so much for that trust. We've got lots of fun, exciting events coming up in the next couple of months. Please do make sure that you've signed up for our newsletter. Ali always just has fabulous things to say. We have blog posts and little hints and tips and information of what's coming on. And spread the word as well. Let people know we're here. And please also know that we always do it online at the same time. So if you can't make it into studio, we're online and you can always come back to any lesson